You've got questions, we've got answers. Welcome to the Therapist Question Box, where trauma-trained therapists tackle real questions from real people. I'm your host, Lindsay Schiss, bringing you grounded insights you can actually use, brought to you by Therapy Utah. Welcome back to another episode of the Therapist Question Box. We are here to answer your tough mental health questions, so ask away. Today I have with me Sway Chavez. I was wondering how to say that right, but I think I got it right.
You got it. Nailed it.
And I know you well, so that shouldn't be difficult,
No.
But so good to be with you today, Sway.
You too, Lindsay.
Thanks for joining us today. And today I really am excited about this topic because I think it's something that everyone has dealt with, everyone has experienced, and it's about food noise. Why we have food noise, what happens.
Yeah.
And so let's just jump right into the question.
Sure.
Here's the question. I've done a lot of work on myself to understand my emotions better than I ever have. I can recognize when I'm stressed, lonely, or overwhelmed. So why can I literally know what I'm feeling and still walk straight into the pantry? Okay. As I say that, do you go, okay, been there before?
Yeah. So,
I think all of us have.
Yeah, I think all of us have,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'll, in this episode, I'm happy to share some of my own experience in this, right? Like, I used to be a big fella. I'm all of 5'3", and I used to weigh 305.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you right now?
I'm around 150.
Okay.
So yeah, somewhere
Big
between
change.
150, 155 pounds.
Okay.
But the number I'm actually really excited about is I'm around 17% body fat. That's the thing I'm most excited about.
So you've had some massive changes in your own body, and I would imagine your own thinking around food.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's just kind of start with like talking about, food in general and the relationship with food. Why food? Why do I go to food? And why is it like the thing that like somehow satiates or fulfills me? And even to the point that like, I'm not saying that this person is there, but like I have been to a place where you eat until you're actually sick and uncomfortable and hurt.
Right.
So the question can be more around like, what am I trying to fulfill?
Yes.
And I think the answer is really simple. Food works.
It does work.
It just works.
And it's convenient. It's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
It's something that is always available. So it makes sense why food is an option for people when they're not feeling okay.
Right.
Right.
And
Emotionally.
I do want to just be a little sensitive to that in that like it's always available. We do have, we live in America, and we do have
That's true.
availability to a lot of food. Not everybody, even here in our country, has that
100%.
availability. But for the most part, we do have availability to vast stores of food, and food that is very high in calories, right? In the fuel that our bodies need. And it is a built-in feature that we have always had from prehistoric times that we need food to survive, right? We just do. And our epigenetics say it's scarce, right? We don't live in that scarcity anymore. And so because it's so easy to find, boom. And it also does an emotional regulation piece for us.
Okay, let me stop you real quick.
Yeah.
So when you say our epigenetics say that it's scarce, so meaning we're programmed to really seek after food. Like
Absolutely.
that is part of our wiring is, okay, we're going to seek after it. It's scarce. We have to hunt and gather it.
Yes.
But now that we don't, we still have that biological programming in us, but it's ever present and available for most people.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can see why there's a disconnect right there.
Absolutely.
Right in and of itself is that we are programmed that this is going to be hard fought to get this food, but in fact it's really easy and it's ever present and ever available.
Well, and on top of that, we are also genetically and epigenetically predisposed to being quote unquote lazy. And what I mean by that is we are predisposed to conserving as much energy as possible so that we have the energy to go out and hunt and gather. But because we don't have to do that, because I can literally pull up my phone and say, "Dear Walmart, send this to my house," and it just shows up within an hour, I no longer had to go hunt and gather. And my hunting and gathering happens right here on a keyboard.
Yep.
Right?
So again, we're programmed. So you can see why it's a perfect storm.
It is.
Right? We're programmed for hunting, gathering, but we're also programmed to be lazy.
Right.
So the combination is, and then we have DoorDash and we have Walmart delivery that can happen within the hour.
Right.
So we get all those needs met. And if we're stressed or we're not okay emotionally, then we reach for it. So let's talk about that. We're talking about emotional regulation.
Right.
Why do we reach for food when we have stress?
Absolutely. So we have a natural curve. We have a natural curve in our day-to-day stress, right? And it will look like a wave, or if we want to get really scientific, a sine wave, right? And if we go down into a fight or flight state or a shutdown state and we start to move in that direction, right? We are getting into like polyvagal theory type stuff, but just when we start to get dysregulated, our nervous system starts to get dysregulated, we want to immediately go to regulation. Some people say we're looking for a dopamine hit and blah, 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 blah. All that's partially true. But in reality, the reason that we're seeking those dopamine hits, those places, right? We could talk about the same thing with like, phone addictions and like screen addiction and all that stuff.
It's any addiction.
Anything.
It's just your addiction of choice.
Right. So we start to go into a discomfort, right? Whether that's we start to go into that fight or flight or anything, we try and find a shortcut and shortchange the system up into what we feel or regulates our nervous system in our body. So when we feel emotionally dysregulated, when we don't feel good, our bodies do this really amazing, it's actually beautiful thing of trying to find a way to get regulated. And it's going to try and do it in the fastest way possible. I don't care if it's food. I don't care if it's the screen. I don't care if it's pornography. You name it, you will find it.
And when you said that, I think this is a really important piece to think about.
Yeah.
That it's actually our brain being really adaptive.
Yeah.
Saying, I'm not okay, and I'm going to try to figure out how to become okay.
Right.
And is it through my screen? Is it through food? Is it through pornography? What is it that is going to make me feel okay?
Right.
And when we can look at it that way, it becomes less pathological.
Yeah.
We go, our brain's just trying to help us here. We're not actually broken, but we're actually trying to get back to being okay. Right. And when I think of that, I think, it can take the shame down a level.
For sure.
Right? It makes more sense to me when we can say, I'm actually trying to regulate my nervous system, and this is the way I'm choosing to do it.
Right. And so now I want to go back to the original listener's question, right? Because the chances are whoever asked this question already knows this. Like they already know this. And they said it. They can name what is going on, right? You can gain the insight because, right, like a lot of the times when we do that emotional regulation piece, as a clinician, I'm asking my clients to go down and figure out what is the deep need or desire that's going unmet, right? And they can, we can get there, right? You can ask the question why 5 times or 7 times, whatever everybody has a different rule, but like you can ask that question several times to get down to that core belief, desire, or need that you have that's going unmet. And just because you know that doesn't always translate to my hand not reaching into the cookie jar.
Listen, if it was a knowledge problem, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Right.
We know it's not a knowledge problem. We know what we need to be doing. We know we should get 8 hours of sleep. We know we should exercise. We know we should eat well. Does that translate into us doing it? No.
You're talking to the guy who got about 4.5 last night.
Right.
Regularly.
Right.
Right.
Right. Like, you know that your body will function better, but for whatever reason, 4.5 is what happened for you last night, hours of sleep,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So it's not a knowledge problem, but it's more of I loved what you said. There's something deeper going on underneath. And this is why therapy is so helpful, because we go, this reader says, I know, like, I'm aware of what's going on, but I still open that pantry and I'm still going for that.
Right.
So if you were saying, okay, there's these different layers. If you're our listener and you're like, I keep going to the pantry, I'm not hungry, I've done a lot of work, what would you tell this listener? Like, what would you encourage them? Like, some practical tools.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of practical tools. There's the kind of tools that are, I call them more like distractive tools. There's also like systems that you can build and put in place, right? Like, you could literally go as extreme as like just not having the stuff in the pantry. But like, or the system of like, I'm only going to have chicken, rice, and broccoli in the fridge, right? And like, you could go to that extreme.
I was going to say, and then life feels really hard.
Yeah, life is awful, right?
When you're eating only chicken, rice, and broccoli,
Right.
yes. But you're saying extreme because maybe that feels like that's what we have to do
Maybe
at the beginning.
and maybe for a time that's the thing, right? Because I can tell you right now, if you go into your fridge at 11 o'clock at night and all you see is chicken, broccoli, and rice, there is only so much of that you're going to eat, because it's going to get boring within 3 bites, right? And then that's also a clue. Oh, I'm just trying to like fill some time, maybe. What am I actually trying to get met by going into the fridge, right?
Yes. And here's what I would also add is, when I'm really hungry, I like want to eat. Like, I am like, I'm not just like rummaging through the cupboards looking. I'm like, give me some fuel. I need to eat. I'm hungry, versus I'm bored. I'm lonely. I'm tired, whatever. There's a very like that's when I find myself opening and closing cupboards and looking, and versus like, I need sustenance now.
Right.
There's a difference in the hunger cue versus some of the emotional needs that are happening when we're opening and closing cupboards and looking and rummaging over and over. Does that make sense? So
totally.
Even when you say the broccoli, chicken, and rice, like, yeah, that would get really old and boring, and I would, no thank you.
Right.
But actually, it probably would meet the need if you truly are hungry.
Right. And I think that I'm going to jump to maybe a slightly different thing, but it's along the same lines. It's the thing that I find for my clients the most when it comes to emotional regulation is this is going to sound really funny. Is the thing actually doing the thing? Because if the thing isn't doing the thing, then change the thing.
Ooh, I like it. I like the things. Keep going.
I know it sounds pretty stupid, like on its surface, but here's what I'm trying to go. Now that I know myself, right, as you do the emotional work of getting to understand, the reason we do regulation is we are trying to get a deep understanding and clarity of who we are.
Can you also, just for the listeners that are like, what are you talking about, regulation?
Yeah,
I said regulation the other day, and someone said, are you saying medication? And I thought, as therapists, sometimes we just say it and throw those words out there. So
Right.
What do you mean by regulation?
What I mean by regulation is a lot of people think regulation means managing our emotions, and that we need to have our emotions always in check and under control, and that's what it actually looks like. Regulation, at least in my world, right, is more being able to recognize the emotions I'm having, giving them and allowing them the space that they need in this moment, recognizing what is that deep need or desire that I'm trying to get met, right?
Also, can we just say that's not easy?
No.
It's way easier to reach for the food than to really dig down and be like, what's actually going on inside of me that is I'm trying to meet? What need is going on that is not met?
Okay, off ball You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So it's not about food, but we're going to talk about it when it comes to regulation. Yesterday, my sweet daughter left a bottle of nail polish open on the counter. My stepdaughter then proceeds to knock it over and goes all over our brand new LVP flooring.
Oh, no.
Right. And does dad show up perfectly in that moment? Oh, no. No, he doesn't. Right.
If you did, you would be superhuman.
Right. Yes.
I feel frustrated for you.
Right. So, dad doesn't show up perfectly. Right. And then has to apologize to daughter later about the way that he showed up. Now, why did dad do that? Dad got to do some emotional work and some regulation in that moment, you know what it actually felt like way down in there is that my work and my like contribution don't matter to this family or to you, kid.
It feels personal.
Totally.
And it had nothing to do with you, her leaving the nail polish on the counter and the stepdaughter knocking over.
Yeah.
But it felt to you.
Right. So then I get to go to daughter and say, hey, dad showed up poorly. I'm sorry. This is how it made me feel, and lead with the vulnerability of that moment. Right. So we're in a bunch of different layers of things. Right.
But can we just stop for a minute? Because that is the work, what you just did yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then you led with vulnerability instead of, why did you leave the nail polish open? And stepdaughter, why are you running and spilling it over? Like, you could have stayed at that surface all day long.
Sure.
But instead you were like, this impacted me more than just that I've got now a mess on the floor.
Right.
It says something about me that you don't care that I am contributing and I'm working hard for this family.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we get to model some vulnerability there, right? So that's what I mean by regulation, right? I get to get in tune with what part of me is coming up and coming out sideways in this moment and why I want to act this particular way or why I acted this way.
Yes.
Right? So that to me is regulation. Could I have managed the emotion better in that moment and just like stuffed it down and buried it? Yep. And I'd still be resentful to this moment.
Yep.
Right.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
What was that like, the conversation with your daughter? I know this is not about the food, but I'm curious what that was like when you explained to her that this felt like you didn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, she just kind of nodded her head, and I mean, she's 9, right? She just nodded her head and, you know, understood. And then, you know, stepmom gets to step into and do the whole like, you know, hey, sweetie, we want you to know, we know accidents are going to happen, and we're just trying to keep, and she's shaking her, you know, like we're just trying to keep this house a little less crazy, right? Yep. By making sure lids are on. And it just, everybody's nervous system just
the temperature went down.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so going back to the question, right? My emotions am I going to the pantry? Am I going to the food to get something met that it's actually meeting or not meeting? Right? It's one thing for me to go to the pantry at 11 o'clock at night when I look down at my watch and my app and it says, you're negative 1,000 calories for the day, dude. You actually need to fuel. Put some food in your body. Even if you only get to negative 400 or 500 calories for the day, you need to be at least there.
Wait, you get to the end of the day and you have 1,000 calories you still need to eat?
I've been there a couple of times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unique.
There's some other pieces to that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yes, like it can get there. Okay. Right. And so again, trying to figure out, I personally get a lot of what's called food noise. You mentioned it up front, right? Mm-hmm. Food noise. My body is constantly thinking, like wants to think about food, right? So much that I started doing a GLP-1, right? Because of the food noise that I was having, just to stay at a maintenance level, right? Because that just helps me bring that food noise down.
Okay.
Right.
That makes sense.
But also like there's a lot of new things that I do that I didn't used to do, right? I spend anywhere between an hour and a half in the gym just lifting. do cardio, people. But
you have to
right. And
defend
so
yourself.
my even that food noise even goes higher because when I lift it, my body is just like, you need fuel. We need to figure out a way to feed these muscles, right? So and there is a difference between it's hard to distinguish. It's very hard to distinguish what is the signal. I am hungry and I need food, right? And I'm actually just emotionally eating at this point.
Okay.
I am 23, 22. I'm 4-6 years, something like that, into this weight loss journey, right? And to be fair, it was forced upon me. I got diabetes and all that thing. That you have to sit there and go, am I actually hungry in this moment? Or what is it that I'm trying to get met? And is the food actually going to meet that need?
And here is, I believe, the way you do that. You have to pause. You have to pause long enough between I'm feeling something's going on inside of me, to I want it to go away.
Right.
I want to do something different. We've got to pause and sit in curiosity and discomfort.
Yep.
Long enough
right where I was going.
to go, wait a minute, what's going on for me?
Yes.
So talk about the discomfort.
Yeah. So it's like we talked about, right? We start to drop into our nervous system. We get uncomfortable with something. So we use something to get out of discomfort. I'll just name it. I've turned into a little bit of a gym rat. Okay. And I love being in the gym, and I love being sore the next day. Like right now, currently, like if I do a body scan, like my biceps are actually pretty exhausted. My quads are still healing from the other day, and so are my hamstrings. But like my body actually likes that discomfort because I know what it's doing for me. Mm-hmm. So this feeds into two things that I want to hit before we wrap. Is the number one, being in discomfort, we think that is always the thing that we're trying to avoid. Which clients will come into my office and say, like, how do you do this all day? And I'm like, I actually just really love the discomfort. It doesn't bother me anymore.
So you love discomfort in general. Your body
now
emotionally.
I do, right?
Yeah.
But I spent years, decades of my life avoiding that discomfort in every way, shape, and form.
Sure.
Right? Every way possible. And I guess, if you want to break it down to like a calculus or a math, the calculus says, I now have a better life and lifestyle because of I'm willing to go and sit in discomfort. The truth is, like the empirical truth is, when we get even just a tinge of hunger, it immediately goes to, oh no, this is what's happening at the base of your brainstem. I'm going to die.
Like it feels actually threatening.
Yeah, it is a threat.
Yes.
Because again, epigenetically, it's a threat.
Yep.
So, but it's just not, because I can walk down the hallway here and go get a huge bag of Doritos and slam those in about 2.5 seconds, and it'd be awesome, right? But that discomfort, right, actually helps in growth, right? I'm going to use, the gym again. I know that by being sore today, that muscle is actually growing. It just is.
That's right.
And so I'm okay, and I'm willing to trade off the discomfort of doing that thing so that I get the result that I want. Now, we got to be careful there. Why Sway's just a vain guy and likes to hang out in the gym and wants to have these huge, right? Like at the core of that, when I received the diagnosis of diabetes, I said to myself, self, you want to see, I'm going to get a little teary-eyed here. You want to see grandkids and maybe even great grandkids. So if you want to see that, we got to fix something here. And what that comes down to is identity And the reason we do the emotional regulation work is so we understand ourselves deep enough to know what is the direction that I actually want to take my life.
And that is empowering.
Absolutely.
Because you say, you know what? I do want to be a grandpa, and I do want to be a great grandpa.
Yeah.
And I get to choose.
Totally.
And this is a moment in time where, that diagnosis is hard. I don't want that.
Yeah.
But boy, I now get to decide who I want to be and how I want my life to be.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Totally.
And sometimes those really difficult moments can turn into some of the most empowering moments. And
Absolutely.
look at it, like it's changed your whole life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I now have the energy to, like, folks, don't do this. Don't do as Sway does and please get more than 5 hours of sleep a night. But like, I still have energy to go home and hang out with the kids after a long day of work. And because I do those things, right? I get to actually build the relationships better. I'm not too tired and laying on the couch because I'm exhausted, right? Like my 12-year-old could probably remember some of those times where Dad would just come home and like just sit on the couch because he didn't have any energy, or be like, or couldn't jump on the trampoline because I was terrified I was going to rip through the thing, right? But now I get to do those things with them. And it's not, I'm human. Is there some vanity? Absolutely. And everybody, you know what I mean? We all care about how we look, and there's a thing there. But at the end of the day, that's all that really matters to me. Is this helping me? My identity is centered in my relationship with my kids, in the, right, like showing up well for that relational thing. And so in order to do that, I'm going to go do this thing, and I'm going to be uncomfortable regularly, daily almost, right? So that I get to live in alignment with my identity and who I want to become. So I think that's why, to me, a lot of the work that we do is doing the self-discovery of who am I? How do I actually want to show up in my life? And when you're fully tapped into those places, the rest just kind of starts to really fall into place. And that, I think, is where the offset comes. Like, I can understand this thing about myself, but I'm still reaching in the cupboard. Right.
And guess what? It doesn't happen overnight.
No.
Right? Like, these behaviors have served you well.
Yeah.
They do create a dopamine hit. They make you feel better for a moment.
Absolutely.
And so recognize that. Like, it takes some time. This, again, just because we hear a podcast or we read a book and we go, oh yeah, that makes sense, this is me, it doesn't mean that overnight we're going to go ahead and change those behaviors.
Right.
It takes time. It takes awareness. And it takes also figuring out what to do in place of, right? It's that same principle. Like, I can't just take something out and not add something back in. I would say that with anything that you feel like you're doing excessively, you're doing it to meet a need. So when we take it out, we have to add something back in that says to our brain, oh, okay, I'm okay again. I feel safe. I feel okay. Recognizing that those are important dopamine things that actually happen in our brain.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would say that again, going back to the identity piece, the thing that I'm replacing it with actually helping me live in alignment with who I am.
Yes. At the end of the day, I mean, that is the question we're asking. And I love that you brought up your diagnosis of diabetes and just said, who do I want to be?
Right.
And how long do I want to be here? Do I want to be able to jump on the tramp with my kids and be a grandpa and be a great grandpa? Yes, that's who I want to be.
And I want to say one more quick thing about, like, I know this topic, it brings up a lot of shame, and I'll probably get, there might be some flack about, like, hey, like, this is body shaming, this is right. And all I can really say about that is that, I would hope that it's not really about the exterior. It's about really what's happening inside.
100%.
Right? Like, it's about what we are experiencing inside, and how do we want to live out our life? this is not meant to hurt anybody or shame anybody around anything like that, right? And I hope everybody gets that, because I don't feel like I'm talking from the cheap seats on this one.
No,
right?
you have some lived experience.
It's been a thing. And so, and I am very passionate about it because of, what it's done for me and my family and all of that. So, whoever submitted this question, I hope that you can find that piece in there, that this is really about your heart and your identity and where you want to be.
So good. Well, Sway, I appreciate the conversation so much. A couple of things I want to just recap from that I think were so important is, am I going to food to get the need met that isn't being met? Is food my drug of choice? Yeah. Is that what I'm choosing? And is it actually really meeting the need that's out there?
Is the thing doing the thing?
The thing doing the thing doing the thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And again, that reminder that there's no shame in your brain trying to regulate. That is your brain being brilliant and doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But we want to figure out, what is the discomfort underneath? What is really going on underneath that's fueling this, right? The reminder to pause and get curious, and then the willingness to sit in discomfort and to say, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but I'm a little uncomfortable right now. Something's not going well. I'm feeling stressed, tired, lonely, whatever it is, that our willingness to go there. Yeah. But it requires the pause first, right? And again, that reminder is it's about who we want to be.
Yeah.
Who do I want to be as a person? What does this look like for me? And empowering. I mean, to me, Sway, this conversation was so empowering, because I think it's less about to me, I heard nothing about body shaming. I actually heard the exact opposite. Like, you get to decide what kind of life you want to live and who you want to be.
Yeah.
And that's with every part of our lives. And this is one of those elements that we get to decide.
Yeah.
So really appreciate the conversation. And again, I think this is something that, because of the world we live in, our access to food, our epigenetics desire and need for food, all of us have experienced this to one degree or another. So
can I say one last thing?
Yeah.
And just always extending the grace to yourself that I am just a human in process. And so when it feels like failure, to just realize I'm just in a process and it's okay. And
I don't care how old you are or how experienced you are, that we are all a work in progress.
Yeah.
Always. And we always will be.
Yep.
And that's the beautiful thing about life. Like, we are a work in progress, and we will keep growing. We will keep stumbling, and we'll keep doing it and rinse and repeat over and over again.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Sway, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for joining us. We hope this conversation sparks something in you that you can think about and share with those that you love. I know it did in me, and really appreciate your insights. Thank you for being here. And until next time, take care. That's a wrap for today on the Therapist Question Box. I'm Lindsay Schiss. Thanks for listening. And remember, every question you ask is an opportunity to learn and grow. Brought to you by Therapy Utah.
Hey, this is Kathy Kinghorn. I'm an owner at Therapy Utah. If you'd like to book with one of our trauma-trained therapists, go to www.therapyutah.org. Thanks for listening.